Been asking Brother Dash to give me the opportunity to come before the camera, and today he allowing me to do this. First, I just want to say right off the back, my name is Tyrone Muhammad. I'm a funeral director here in New Jersey, and I'm going to cut straight to the chase. I ain't going to sugarcoat nothing. I ain't going to give you a watered-down version. I ain't going to tell you something that's just popular. No, I'm going to give it to you real. If you ain't hear from nobody else that's telling you the realness, you ain't hear from nobody else. As a funeral director, you want to talk to those who just loving these brothers, these rappers. In fact, rappers such as Rick Ross, rappers such as Lil Wayne, those are out there having you falling in love with that nonsense, having fallen in love with thinking that that's reality when they talking about violence. But they living other than that. See, they walking around with bodyguards and etc. And they got you out here gang banging, got you out here shooting and killing one another. But listen, all that, the reality of it is when I see you. When I see you, it's over. It's over. Why? You're dead. You're gone, and you're dead because of foolishness, right? You come in here all shot up, bullet holes everywhere. You've been to the medical examiner. The medical examiner butcher you up, chop you all up, gut you open, take all your heart, your organs, your liver, your kidneys, your intestines. They remove your brain, gut you out. Cut you out, and now what happens now? You leave off a cold environment there. You come to the funeral home, we put you on the cold embalming table. And while you're on that cold embalming table, we put cold embalming fluid in you, with cold water. See what I'm saying? And after all that, we watching your cold blood run down the tables. Why? Because you fell in love with a fantasy. You fell in love with something that wasn't even real. See, they got you buying their products, and they not even living that. They not even living that lifestyle. So they got you all thinking that that's real. No, that ain't real. Real is when your mother is before me. Real is when your mother can't afford to pay for your funeral. Real is when I got to patch up those bullet wounds on you. See, that's real. See, that's real. See, Rick Ross ain't here to pay for your funeral. Rick Ross, Lil Wayne and them ain't here to help your mother buy a casket, to put you on the ground. No, it's your poor mother. See what I'm saying? I'm sick of it, man. Ain't no damn outcry. Ain't nobody fed up. Ain't nobody care about you. Your homies don't give a damn about you. Why is that? Yeah, they homies on the street. But when it's time to come in here to pay that bill, ain't nobody in here with your mother. Your mother in here by herself, putting her little pennies, her nickels, and her dimes, and her hard-earned dollars here to put you at rest for some foolishness. Think that over, man. Think it over. I mean, I don't know nobody that want to rush to a grave. I just can't even see somebody trying to rush to get into a casket. To be down. Down for what, man? Think that over. Down for what? And at the day when they put you in that ground, and I've been to so many funerals, I've directed so many funerals, and after they eat that chicken and macaroni and cheese, get that Hennessy, smoke a little weed, you gone, man. Off to the next one, man. Everybody is profiting off the death of young black people. Everybody is profiting from it. The medical examiner, the hospitals, and the hospital profit even more. Because why? Because when you get shot and they trying to keep you alive, you ain't dead yet. They still keeping you alive by means of artificial, meaning that they can have a mechanical device on you keeping you alive, right? On a respirator, or you close to death, they harvesting your organs, taking your organs, man. Your kidneys, right? Taking your heart, and your mother and father know nothing about that, right? But then they go sell your organs or put them right on the black market, should I say. So now your mother who don't have money, think this over, think this over. Your mother who don't even have money to pay for your funeral, but yet your organs were so valuable that it's going over to somebody else on the market where they paying $25,000 and $50,000 and your mother see nothing of that. Right? Not only she lost her son, now his organs is being distributed to other people where they cashing in on it. Right? So you need to start thinking about this, man. Before you start going out here and talking about that you down with this set, down with that set, man, I'm telling you the real story is, man, you're going to end up in the funeral home. I'm telling you. And you probably saying you ain't got nothing to live for. You got everything to live for, man. You got everything to live for. You got to understand that you matter. Just as the next man that may have an education, that may have a lot of money, and you may not attain that right now, you still matter, man. So many of our young brothers, nowadays sisters too, end up in the graveyard. So much potential. Gone, man. Some of the answers and cures that we need in our community, gone. See? And what we got to do, man, we got to start uniting and realize that, man, we are fighting for the resurrection, for the totality of our people. We got to understand that we are fighting for our people, man, for our very existence here. Now, I'm tired as a funeral director. Now, I mean, I don't know why other funeral directors ain't stepping up. I mean, yes, I mean, you got to, why other funeral directors ain't stepping up? Why I'm the only one out there crying out in the wilderness, man, trying to get you to see the reality, man? Huh? Are you just that much in love and getting in the casket? Is you just that much in love with seeing how many people gonna come to your funeral? Are you just that much in love to see how many people gonna sign a register book? Are you that much just in love to see how your prayer card and your program is? You must be a damn fool. You gotta be a fool, man. Because once you in that casket, you ain't getting out of it. It's over. It's done. So what we gonna start doing? And we out in the streets every day. We out in the streets every day. Morticians that care, we out in the streets. We bringing caskets to the street. We bringing body bags to the streets. We bringing the van with the casket on top of it, man. Right? Some people say, why you gotta be so grotesque? Why not? Why not? We gotta do whatever it takes, man, to save the life of our people. You been dilly-dallying, pit-tapping around this issue? No, man, we gotta deal with the issue today. And if that means by bringing a casket on the street, so be it. I'm gonna keep doing it. If that'll bring a body bag out in the street, I'm gonna keep doing it. Right? I'm gonna keep doing it. Long as that we got the violence that's taking place and I'm trying to save our young people, I'm gonna do what I need to do, But it ain't gonna stop here. We're going to take the death from our community and we're going to bring it to the right in front of the very door of those that got the resources to help us get out of the mess we're in. Right? That's what we're going to start doing. We're going to make a reality of death a part of other people who've been living cushy, who've been living comfortably, who've been living good, and off the backs of our young people dying. Medical examiners, step up, man. You talking about you ain't part of the problem. You ain't part of the solution. No. This is what one of the medical examiners told me. I tried to tell him to get involved in the Stop the Violence campaign. He said, listen, man, the medical examiners ain't part of the solution. I said, you're a damn lie. You ain't. You are a lie. You ones that witness and see this every day. You mean to tell me that you don't care enough about the... Oh, I get it, because he don't look like you. I understand. I understand he ain't from the same educational background as you. I get it, right? But at the same time, you have a duty, man, that you were sworn by, right? You have a duty. And you seeing so many of these children going to an early grave, man, when they should be going off to college and getting clothes for their graduation. I'm taking their clothes and burying them, man, splitting them up the back to put on them, suturing up their skin, man, to put their flesh back together. I'm the one got to take the viscera in the bag and put that back in your stomach. I'm the one got to put the skull back and suture up your head, man. I don't take no damn delight in doing that. I'm fired up, man. I'm telling you it's going to be a change. So you rappers, I'm telling you, we calling you out, man. We going to tear your brand down, man. I'm telling all the young people today, man, tell them, put that foolishness down, man. Don't buy another one of those records. They telling you to kill or pick up a gun. We don't want that. I don't care who it is. Because you know why? You should care. Because ain't none of them. Lil Wayne ain't coming to your funeral. You can forget that. Right? Rick Ross ain't coming to your funeral. You can forget that, brother. Right? So what we gonna do, we gonna make them feel our pain. We gonna stop supporting them. If they can't raise the level of consciousness in the minds and hearts of our people, and they knowing damn well where they come from, man, from the inner city, and now you have attained a life that's giving you luxury, man, and you gonna turn your back on our people, man, and keep giving them this filth? Nah, we coming to you. We coming to your doorsteps. We bringing body bags. We bringing caskets, man. We bringing pictures, man. We gonna let you know, man, that we feel it here in the city. We gonna bring it to your doorstep. So I just want to appeal to the young people as I close out. I want you to really start thinking what I'm saying. I ain't here to scare you. I'm telling you the reality. See, they ain't gonna tell you the reality. I mean, it ain't all good, right? Cause you a shell, man. You gone, man. Right, you cut from here like that wide incision, right? That right here, you cut, man. Pull your flap over your chin, man. Skull is taken off. Brain is removed, stuffed with newspaper, man. See, that's the real, man. And when you love somebody unconditionally, man, you give up the secrets. Ain't no secrets about this no more. It's all on YouTube, all on the internet on how people are embalming today. But the fact of the matter is, ain't nobody saying nothing about the young black people dying, man. I mean, everybody on street corners nowadays saying this and that. No, we try to take it to another level, man. We got to take it to another level. We telling the radio stations. We calling them out, man. Stop playing all that damnable music that's harming our people, man. Right? You got us on street. You got us on one segment that you give us 1 hour on Sundays to try to tell us what's going on in the community. But those 23 hours a day and those rest of the 6 days a week, you dumping garbage and filth in the minds of our people, man. Sending off bad frequencies and vibrations within them, man. No, we coming for you, man. We coming, even if whatever it takes, we coming for you. We coming for you. So as I close out, I just want to thank you for not going that route. For those who considering that you think you may be corny and that you don't want to be a part of that culture, I'm telling you, stay the course. You want the right course. Because I'm going to tell you, as I close out now, we're going to be able to address the issue soon, or I'm going to be addressing you later. Thank you.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Check this shit out. Go Deep, episode 11. Back in this bitch. We are starting out today, episode 11, the one and the one, the Twin Towers. Let's start out today. First, let's get some music. Let's get some music. I can't forget that. Everybody go chill. Get you a blunt. Get you a drink. We're gonna start this shit off with hold on, I got a song for you. Be right back.
Smoking? Somebody come smoke with me. This is it. Come smoke, Hezzy, baby. Never change, baby. Slide, y'all. You know how we do. Yo, what's the deal, Goldilocks? Ain't nothing, I'm just hibernating. Love that watch, pour me some scotch and cold Gavassia. No doubt, have a cheer, boo, let's get the volley in. Who you with? Me and Molly and some trickles Yugoslavian. What fabric is that? It's only wool and rayon, lipstick, crayon, fly, Fahrenheit spray on. I'm getting tipsy, I hope she read cocks like a gypsy. Transporting bricks, stealing mini 50s. Fuck negotiating, is you with me, is you waiting? Sweet ass carrot cake faking, plus she don't eat turkey bacon. I don't get down like that, I don't get down neither. Cuban link Caesar, why you acting like a rep teaser? I'm like the jury exchange plus a range, nigga, you small change. I only fuck for Figaro chains. Analyzing Miss Claro, Fendi down, mascara on, assistant manager in Paragon. Socializing, vibing with my eyes on Dot. She this book cover lady that be blowing up the spot while my heart was racing like the hands on the clock. I step live, I think she see me putting out the pot. Peace, Dot. I'm so happy to see you at the rendezvous. How's life today? Your hands are softer than Cam made too. Your hair do way more class than Halle Berry. Court visions of me and you riding on the ferry. Plus your daughter Kiki talk to my man Mary. I order me a sex on the beach with the cherry. I order her a Reniti on ice, sounds nice. She elegant, pretty eyes, glasses, intelligent. Whispered in my ear that she's Sullivan. Whispered back to her ear, we don't have to go there. As I grabbed her hand, set her politely in the chair as we stopped and stared at one another. Black sister, the brother, I'm thinking all the time how she could be my lover.
What's happening, brown sugar? So you look so good today. Ankle bracelet wrapped around your leg, you have a seat. complimentary drinks is on me. Bartender, Chevalier Chateau at table 3. Luxurious rings, eyes sparkling. What's your name, sugar? Juanita Cash Hawkins. Your complexion gives a reflection of sometime a black woman just need to be loved, quiet and shy. Baby girl, my gift got you high. Made you wanna hit me with the keys to that 5. Just joking, baby. I have a sharp sense of humor. Wish I would've bumped into your frame a lot sooner. Wish your physical degree 31, 33. Half Hawaiian with a slight touch of Chinese. Seen you working at a law firm on 5th Avenue. 3 blocks from the Gucci spot is where I trap to. Yo, I'm all into older woman who's happy living. Love kids and keep all our business in the cribbin'. And not afraid to doubt me, the guard on your side. We hold the hands of death to us apart and then we slide. Earring in the left side of your nose, love my combo. Should've left my whiz 1,000 times, maybe tonight though. You sexy motherfucker, damn, what's the recipe? You make a nigga wanna, goddamn. Can you cook, darling? At the stove you're revolving. Baked macaroni, turkey wings, a nigga starving. Here, take my number, let me pull a chair from under. I had fun, plus your backyard speak with thunder.
Love was never born to say goodbye. 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 Just another helpless fool in love is what I. Just another helpless fool in love is what I. Just another helpless fool in love is what I. Just another helpless fool in
Crime story. Title. I gotta get it, however, whenever.
All my niggas
Whoever.
know they
Yeah.
in the streets. Whatever go down, whatever go
Follow
down.
me up one time,
I'm
like
with
my
you.
man Papa
With
died.
you, shot, with
No.
you, shot.
Time for some action. It was June 1st. Me and my Cody ran up in the check, cashing on Tompkins and Broad. I told her, tell her don't act funny with the money, cause the money ain't yours. We got 20 hostages and ready to die for this. Quick say, she moving too slow, I'm ready to pop this bitch. Then he shot the bitch and we had to move quick. Grabbed the cash money and food stamps and jetted towards the whip. Jump started the vehicle, drove a block or two. Looked in the rear view, noticed the boys in blue. So I bust a U-turn, you can smell the rubber burn. I dusted them like a wet bag of shirt from uptown. Slowed down and made the left at the light. Started flowing the board and veered to the left. Parked in front of 27 Warren. We ran up in the building with 2 big black duffel bags, but at least a half million. Ran up in the crib, shut the door. The sweat started pouring. That's when I heard the sirens
Yo, fuck
roaring.
the siren. So we came off, we blasted. Any nigga come in here, we coming through like. We do the same shit in my projects. Lounging, listening to flex, just thinking of crime. In the hard time, niggas I know sell dimes, so you should snort dimes and do robberies.
Mouth with your hands up. We have you surrounded. Heard it over bullhorn, one officer shouted. I said, this is it, son. Is you bout it? See you in hell. Look my man in his eyes. We started busting off shells. Going all loud back in the ATF down. 52 days, David Koresh style. They got the sharpshooters out on the project room. It's 12 o'clock noon. The old lady yelled, don't shoot. Then I heard a shot. My heart stopped and my man dropped. I fucked with the Glock and got tapped by 4 cops. They cuffed me up, fucked me up, brought me to the precinct. Ain't feed me all weekend. All I was doing was thinking. I blew trial and they threw the book at me. And I'm still reading. You can hear the stories over and over in the hood. Gotta live to regret. If I could take it back, I would. Didn't plan to be like this. We both dead. I hung it up cause I couldn't hold my head.
Yo, these streets is terrible, son. Yo, we do the same shit in my projects. Lounging, listening to flex, just thinking of crime. In the hard time, niggas I know sell dimes, so you should snort dimes and do robberies. We do the same shit in my project. Lounging, listening to flex, just thinking of crime. In the hard time, niggas I know sell dimes, so you should snort dimes and do stick-ups, dime. For real. Crime. Without that, we'll be starving.
Yo, yo, word. I know y'all like that shit. That's that Ghostface. That's that Cam A. Ghostface. Raekwon. Cat Madonna. That shit was hard. That shit was hard. Definitely was. All of Iron Man was hard. The second song was Crime Story. Shaheem. Featuring Lord Superb. That shit was hard as hell too. I like to keep hip hop going on, you know what I'm saying? I like to keep hip hop going because it make everybody feel better. When you hear good hip hop, it just make you feel better. I know you feel better that you just heard Cam A, and I know you feel better that you just heard Crime Story. I know that. But today we're gonna talk about Go Deep, episode 11, the Dave Chappelle Show. Now, Dave Chappelle, we really got to talk about this nigga. And I've been sprinkling them in some of our things before. Dave Chappelle still ties into everything I've been talking about because, like I said, the season started out on the Black Panther review. The Black Panther review led to high technology with precious metals out of the ground. That led to the Zack Snyder shows. Zack Snyder, same thing. High technology, precious metals, precious minerals, making super people. What the Nazis was doing. With the Tesla stuff. That led to Oblivion. Oblivion said who the Nazis was really working for, who the ultimate power is. It's a big pyramid in the sky that came down and cloned all of humanity. Been sending humanity to work for it to take, basically take all the resources off the planet, while the clones of humanity are its worker bees. That one moved to, well, you get what I'm saying. We're on level 10. We're on level 11 right now. We talked about a lot of stuff from, like I said, high technology, cloning. Talked about Tesla's material. We talked about Oblivion's cloning, the pyramid. We talked about the Prestige cloning, the pyramids. We talked about, then we switched to what they're doing with clones, the adrenochrome, blood drinking, crazy shit, cloning stations, murdering clones, murdering people, using their clone to murder them. And now we get up to Dave Chappelle. Cause it all connects to one thing, Dave Chappelle, and he's in our lifetime. So we if we know his story, and you will know his story after this, cause that's what I'm for. Dave Chappelle here's the story on Dave Chappelle. Here's the real story, straight from his family. And I'll put his family's video in here afterwards. Here's the story of Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle was on the Chappelle Show, killing it at the end of the Bush era. What he was doing, he was tripping on everybody. Black, white, Chinese, everybody. He was saying what everybody really wants to say, but are too scared to say it. He was making jokes like he had the niggers, the white family called the niggers. He was saying niggers. He was putting the shit in a funny way so everybody can address shit that we really wanted to talk about. And he did it, and he made us laugh with it. So he made it able to drop all of our defenses and just talk about real shit. Everybody liked the Chappelle Show, from white, black, young, old, girl, and boy, liked the Chappelle Show. Somebody was finally saying what everybody wanted to say and made that shit extremely funny. But what he was doing also, which hurt Dave Chappelle, because he was like I said, he was at the end of the Bush era. Who came after Bush? It was Obama. So what the politician want to do was, there's politics in Hollywood like it is everywhere. The politics in Hollywood approached him the executives, and they told him, yo, listen, we need you to stop making black people look bad. Like, you know, the little crackhead skits he was doing, or, you know, the Joe Rogan skits, you know, all kind of shit. He was just doing a bunch of stupid shit, but he was hurting the image of black people, right? So they wanted him to clean that shit up so they can bring a better image for Obama into office. They wanted people around the world to think of black people as like royalty because they wanted to paint that image on Obama. But if Dave Chappelle was keep doing his little nigger jokes and his crackhead jokes and all his crazy shit like that, they couldn't paint a regal. It would be hard for them to paint a regal black politician, right? So they had to tell him to stop. And he was like, no, the executive, they told him to stop. They wanted him to switch his shit up, wanted him to make black people look better. And they said, you can trip on white people, Chinese people, you can trip on everybody, but we need you to tone it down on black people. And he said, no, he said, because that's not equal. Everybody is in this together. And he said, let me think about it. After they was giving him some more pressure, he said, let me think about it. He left, came back after a little while because he went to Africa. They were pressuring him enough to go to Africa. And they smeared him in the news. They said, you know, he's a crackhead and he turned down $50 million. But they were trying to, you know how in Hollywood they smear you first before they kill you, because they want the image of you to be killed first. They want everybody to say, oh shit, he's a crackhead, I don't care if he died. Or ODB died from drugs. Oh, he's a drug addict, I don't care if he died. But they be killing these people and using these bad images that they make about you, this bad reputation about you, they use it against you. You know, they're hunting everybody right now. They're hunting everybody. But Dave Chappelle was hunted. So Dave Chappelle came back and started doing little interviews. He did one with Screen Actors Guild. He did one with Oprah. And he started, you can tell, he wasn't on his show no more. Everybody said he turned down the money. But you can tell he started saying something. And he did this little thing, I think it was called like Backstage or something, with like a little block party that I had on. I bought it and it was real good. But he was saying some real shit on the block party. Kanye was on there. Black Thought was on there. The Roots, Talib Kweli, Mos Def, everybody was on there. But they were saying some real shit. So you can tell Homeboy knew what was going on. His last two interviews, he was saying some real shit. And in his block party, he was saying some real shit. So then, they said he turned the money down and he turned the show down. But what he did is after he went on Oprah, the executives called him back and they were like, okay, we can do it your way. Come down, let's show you something. I want to show you a new studio that we're doing. We're thinking of this new studio underground. And they were all happy. But Dave Chappelle called his cousin before he left because he told his cousin the whole story. His cousin is the one that told us the story, and I will put the cousin video in there. So Dave Chappelle, he went to meet them again underground, and they killed him and cloned him. So all throughout Obama's presidency, he was not allowed to come back. He was allowed to come back after Obama got out of office. And what's so crazy is that other stars like Oprah, D.L. Hughley, what's his name? The dude that, you know, that said the girl won one time and she didn't. What's his name? Oh man, I forgot, but you know what I'm talking about. The black dude. He hosts like Family Feud. Steve Harvey. So people like that told on because they tell on everybody. That's how they get bigger roles. That's how they tell on people. That's how Jay-Z got big. He told on Dame and them boys. And they say them boys, Jay still telling. But let's get back to the story. So they cloned him. They killed him and cloned him. They killed Martin and cloned Martin. They killed Bernie Mac and cloned Bernie Mac. Bernie Mac was the one that was gonna expose them, and so was Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle saw what was going on down there, and they made him sign a contract under duress. Like, that's why he got his 50 million and his 60 million when he got back out. He came back, like I said, after Obama left, but he's been nobody since. But his cousins say they killed and cloned not only him, but when he went back to his house, his wife knew that this wasn't the real Dave Chappelle because he didn't talk like Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle, she said he had little things he used to say, like little, or little crazy shit he used to say all the time, like. But he say the new Dave Chappelle don't say that. But there was so much more the cousin was saying about it. But we was talking about this a few weeks ago on Do Work was the cloning thing. The cloning is very real. Like, remember Nicki Minaj got in trouble one time because she put up a post and it was saying something, and one of her hashtags said "Stop cloning humans." B.O.B. put up a Twitter one time and said the same thing. They're lying to us. They're cloning humans. Now, B.O.B. is a little weird because he be on that flat earth shit, which I don't really fuck with. But I do know there's cloning. There's too much more evidence. So Dave Chappelle was cloned. The new Dave Chappelle is not Dave Chappelle. His new family is not his family. They say they killed his wife, kids, and cloned all of them and put them into a new family. And nobody from his original family can get in touch with him. They say when they call on the phone, somebody answers and hangs up all the time. But it's been out. It's been out, y'all. Cloning is fucking real. All of us, this is what all of every one of these shit was talking about. Every one of my episodes was talking about that. High technology. And then what they were doing with Black Panther, they tried to show it different. Black Panther had a lot of sneaky shit in it, and people don't understand it because people don't know what they were talking about. What Black Panther did, they used the technology to make holograms, like the hologram of Tupac that they got out right now. And remember, she was driving in the car, but it really wasn't her. They were doing that to make holograms, but no, they don't. And also, he had a suit that was a decoy suit of Black Panther, which is like a clone. But every other Black Panther didn't really focus on cloning. They just focused on the technology. But every other movie we've talked about so far, up until 11, has talked about cloning. Man of Steel with Superman, the Codex. They wasn't having natural babies on Krypton anymore. They were having clone babies. Man of Steel. They destroyed Krypton by mining all the precious minerals off the planet, and it blew it up. The core got unstable. The next one we talked about was after the Zack Snyder. I think we talked about The Prestige. More cloning. Clone Hugh Jackman throughout the whole movie. After we talked about that, we talked about Oblivion. More cloning. Cloned Tom Cruise throughout the whole movie. And what was it? Pyramid. What was it in Prestige? It was a pyramid. What was it in Man of Steel? That spaceship was supposed to be the workings of the inside of a pyramid. Cloning shit. We talked about it with Westworld. No, we haven't talked about Westworld yet. I just put a little clip in there the other day, but that's same thing. Same thing with Matrix. We talked about that. That's just what's going on. We're used for our body parts, you know. And when Obama came in, what did they do? They destroyed Chicago. And what did they do? Kill all those kids. And what did they do? Steal all those kids' organs. There's 60 shootings, average 60 shootings a weekend in Chicago. It's a lot of organs being stolen. Who said is that? Obama. Who said is that? Oprah. Who brought in Obama? Oprah. Who interviewed Dave Chappelle on his last interview? Oprah. Who knew what was going on? Oprah. Who's connected to Harvey Weinstein? Oprah. Who's connected to Obama? Oprah. How's Chicago looking right now? Oprah. I can't say this more clearly, y'all. We are really, 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 really in love with the bad guys. And they are doing really, really bad shit on this planet right now. So I'm going to jump out this bitch because Dave Chappelle's cousin is a little long. So give me some time. I'm going to upload the shit. I'm going to stop talking. I'll just upload that and we'll go from there. Check this shit out. Go Deep, episode 11 is the one and the one. The Twin Towers in this bitch. By the way, I was in New York for the... whatever. Go deep, you bitch.
I would like to talk about someone who was very dear to me. And some of you know who he is. Some of you have laughed at his comedy. Some of you have gone to his shows and have fallen out of your seats or your chairs or what have you because of the comedy that he gave you. And that person is my cousin, David Chappelle. David Chappelle and I were first cousins. Okay, David and I, we were very, very close. There were times when David and I would talk. I had his cell phone number and he had mine, and we would talk for hours on end. There was nothing that David would not or could not tell me, and vice versa with me to him. We just felt comfortable around each other. David was my yin and I was his yang, or vice versa as you want to put it, but we were very close. Okay, David was married to his wife Elaine, as some of you all may know. She was a Filipino. She is a Filipino, and his mother's name was we called her Auntie Vaughn, and he has a brother. His brother is named after David's father, William. He's a junior. And then David has a sister whose name is Felicia. And she is a full practicing Muslim. Well, David was he was a Muslim as well. And David him and his wife Elaine has two sons along with a daughter, and their names, I'm not going to give you out their names, but they have names of Muslims. That's the initial concept of what I'm going to, what I've said about the relationship that David and I have had together. So he loved his wife, he loved his mother, and most of all, David loved his family, and he loved the farm. And as some of you may know, he has a farm in Yellow Springs, Ohio. And he has a special name for that farm, which I'm not going to discuss about, but he calls that farm a certain name. Now, and on that farm is acres and acres of land. And I'm telling you, David was a responsible person when it came to his wife, his children, his mother, his family, and particular their farm. Okay, as some of you may know, David had the Chappelle comedy show, and David was doing good on that show. I mean, he was doing great. And David loved that show. David has always loved to make people laugh, and laugh sometimes until your stomach hurts or tears come out your eyes. He was very, very funny, and David has always been a funny type person ever since the time he was a young boy. Even when he would come to family reunions, he would always, he would be in the spotlight making the family laugh, just laugh. And this is something that he always wanted to be, a comedian, to make people laugh. Well, come the time when David, he was the executive producer of the Chappelle comedy show, and as I stated before, he was doing fine, he was doing great. But David knew he had to be responsible for his wife, his children, his mother, and the farm, and for the rest of the members of the Chappelle family. And so he had to take things very serious and take the responsibility very heavy. So he did the Chappelle comedy show. And one day he was called into the executive office, and so David went in, and when he went there, he saw all of these executives and others that were around this table, and they had David surrounded like a clock. And it made David a little nervous because he thought he was talking to a few executives, but not a whole slew of them and other people as well. So they asked David, they told him he was doing fine on the show. Great, the show was great, David, but except for one exceptional thing. And David asked, what? They wanted David to ease up off, making the black characters look as stupid as he was portraying them. They wanted him to ease up off the black race. They wanted him to make the black race more intellectual, more, you get what I'm saying. They wanted him to, to quit it. To quit, just harping on the black race and making them look nonsense. Well, David said, to the executives and then some who were in the room, I don't understand what you're talking about. He said, because I portrayed the characters of the black race just like I portrayed the characters of the white race. And I can't do that. I can't do that. I have to keep both of them on the same level. Well, they didn't mind David downgrading on the white race, but they wanted him to quit downgrading, period, on the black race. And David said, no, well, I can't do that. And so then they said, okay, David, we're going to make a deal with you. And David said, a deal? They said, yes, a deal. They told David, we'll give you $50 million. $50 million if you could come and join our team and be a part of us and this and that. And they told him some other things, which I'm not going to discuss. But you can rest assured the things that they said to David, to tell him what he could do and what he couldn't do and this and that, and then the torture that they had and the pressure that they put pressure on this man, on David at that time of the meeting. Okay, and David said, no, well, if I accept $50 million from you, what would my fans think? And they said to David this, well, your fans already think that you are a crack addict from the characters that you portray. David, they already think that, that you're a pothead, that you're a drug head. So, it doesn't matter what your fans think, it's what you are willing to accept. And then they went on to put the pressure on him once more. And David, he said, no. I can't accept it. I can't accept the $50 million, and I cannot stop portraying the black race as the same as the white race. He said, no, I can't do it. I can't. You all want me to stop making the black race look foolish, but just continue. No, I can't do it. I have to treat the characters that I portray. It has to be on an equal level. You have to understand, David wasn't trying to make the black race look foolish. He was doing comedy, just like Richard Pryor, just like Bernie Mac, just like any other top comedian of long ago and today, Red Fox. Because see, David knew he was a black man, and David knew where his roots came from. He knew where his roots came from. The reason why they wanted David to quit having blacks to be foolish in the roles or the characters that he was playing was because at that time they knew, they had gotten word of, that eventually there was going to be a black man to be ushered in as our new president. And they wanted people all over to think that, that black people were not this way and black people were not that way because they were ushering in Obama. That's why they wanted, and David, he wasn't for that. Okay. So David told these executives, excuse me, David told these executives, he said, well, let me think about this thing for a while. He said, because I can't give you an answer right now. He said, because all that you have said to me, is something where I got to think about. He said, I just can't give you an answer right now. And so with that, when David left out of that office, David called me. When David called me and told me everything that they said to him in the executive office. David told me everything from A to Z. And what David told me, it caused me to get a headache. And if I had been in that room, and it would have scared the hell out of me, because it in fact scared the hell out of David Chappelle. And David told me, upon talking to me, he said, cuz I got to go. And I said, you got to go? He said, yes, I got to get out of here. I said, well, David, out of here where? He said, I'm going to Africa. I said, well, David, you're going to Africa? He said, I got to get my head clear. I got these things. He said, I just have to have my own peace of mind. And I said, what about Elaine, David? He said, well, I'll deal with Elaine. I'll call Elaine later. He said, but right now I got to go. And I found out later the only person that David had told of going to Africa was me, his brother William, and I think there was a possibility that it was Neil Brennan. I said, David, you go and do what you have to do. And I said, but let me know when you get back in town. Some of you asked, why did he go to Africa? Because David was a practicing Muslim. And David went to Africa because he knew his fate was over there, his faith. And he knew that practicing Muslims was over there and they would guide him or steer him in the right direction. His sister was and is today a practicing Muslim. Now, I want to remind you that when David went to Africa, where he was going, no one knew him, because David told me on the telephone, he said, now, cuz where I'm going, he said, where I'm going, no one knows me. He said, I hope they don't, cuz. I hope they don't. He said, but I'm going there because I realize and I understand that there are Muslims over there. He said, but I don't know them and they don't know me. And so I said, well, David, go on and do what you have to do. I said, just let me know when you get back. So that's what David did. He went on, and while David was away, I received phone calls. And I don't know whether David's brother William received any phone calls, because David's brother William, him and I, we were not as close. But I know I received phone calls asking, have you seen David? Do you know where David is? And I knew where David was, but I could not tell anyone, because I told David during our conversation that I would never tell anyone unless he told me to tell them. And I knew that after what David had told me about the meeting with the executives, that I felt really good that David got the hell away. When David got ready to come back, David called me and said, cuz, I'm back in town. Well, he let his wife know, and everything was fine there. When he called me, he told me, he said, I'm out of the entertainment world. I don't want to do comedy on television anymore. He said, I'm finished with all of that. I'm finished. I said, Dave, are you sure? He said, yeah, I'm done. I'm done with being on television, doing comedy. He said, what I want to go back to is doing comedy at the little local comedy places. And I said, well, David, are you sure that's what you are? He said, yeah, because he said, I have enough money to take care of my family and my farm and my mother and people in my family. He said, but I just don't want to do any comedy on television. He said, I'm done. Anyway, while talking to David, it gave me a sense of hope. That David was going to be all right, because he was finished with the, this Chappelle show, the comedy show on television, and that he wasn't going to do any more appearance on any other show. And so it gave me a sense of relief for him. Okay, but they found out somehow that David was back in town, and he was doing comedy at these little local comedy clubs and things like that. First, David went to the inside the actor's studio. He was asked to come and be on the show with the host there. And, David was fine. He went on the show and the questions was asked to him, why did he go to Africa and what went down? And I remember that David told exactly, the same thing that I'm telling you now, and that how, this whole thing was kind of shaking, and he didn't want no parts of him. Then he also went and he told about Martin Lawrence. Now, Martin Lawrence, they did the same thing to him too. But Martin Lawrence, and no one today, we have not seen Martin Lawrence. No one knows where Martin Lawrence is. Because you know why? Martin Lawrence is dead. I mean, body, soul, spirit, dead. If you ever see a Martin Lawrence come back on the scene, it's because that Martin Lawrence, before they killed him, they made a clone of Martin Lawrence, and they have that clone in waiting. Waiting for what? I don't know. And but no one has seen Martin Lawrence. No one knows anything about Martin Lawrence anymore. But if you ever, and I say to you all who all are listening, if you see Martin Lawrence, then you know that he's a clone. And because they were supposed to, Martin Lawrence and Will Smith was supposed to be, they supposed to have done a film that was supposed to have came out last summer. But the film never did come out. Why? Because there was no Martin Lawrence. So, I'm just going to, anyway, just wanted to share that with you. But Dave Chappelle went on stage with, and was in the audience. It was a group of young people there who were interested in becoming comedians or becoming actors or what have you. And Dave went there to, to tell them about the business, about the Illuminati, because David felt that what they had said to him in the executive office, he wanted people to know what was going on, just as Martin Lawrence wanted people to know, just as Britney Spears wanted people to know, just as some of the stars here today want people to know about the Illuminati. So that's what David did. David wanted people to know what they were doing to him and what they were all about. So this is what he said on the stage. So he told them, to make sure that that was a sure thing for them to do, to go into, and he warned them, okay? And then the next person, and when I talked to David, I said, David, you should not go there, you should not go there, you should not go there. But David, he was so afraid that David wanted to expose the inner dark circle. He wanted to expose them. And so the next person who invited David on their show was Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey, and I told Dave, I said, Dave, please don't go there. He said, no, cuz I'm going to be all right. He said, but I just want to let people, I want to talk, cuz I want to talk. So I said, okay. So David went on that show. And now, and if you notice or not, when David was on that show, on Oprah Winfrey's show, Oprah was trying to coach him along and saying to him, but you did, you were stressful, weren't you? And David was saying, no, anybody was under stress of what they said to me in that office, but she wanted David to admit things that were not true with David, that was not going on with David at that time. And if you watch the taping show of Oprah and David, if you notice or not, David was looking around to make sure that no one else was coming in behind him. David was fearful of even being on the Oprah show. And then another thing, if you take notice or not, when Oprah was talking, David had his hand over his mouth, and like he was saying to himself, Oprah, I know what you're trying to do. I know what you're trying to do. And so, but David was fearful of being on the Oprah Winfrey show. And not only with the appearance that he was making, the gestures and sort of thing, and the looking around, but when David left the Oprah Winfrey show, I got a phone call. And who was a phone call? None other than David Chappelle, and he told me some things that he speculated of Oprah Winfrey. And I said, David, I told you not to go on that show. I told you not to go on that show because Oprah is already into that dark circle. Oprah is Oprah was the one that ushered Obama into office, and that's one of the reasons why they wanted David to quit on the blacks because Oprah ushered him in. Oprah was in favor of Obama getting into office. Oprah was behind Obama, on the side of Obama, and as might as well say in front of Obama. She got him into office. And I said, David, I told you not to go on that show. He said, well, I'm done. I'm done. Now, David finally, once and for all, he got to know where Oprah Winfrey was coming from. David didn't trust Oprah Winfrey, and he was glad that the show was over with. And David told me that when he left Oprah Winfrey, he had to keep looking over his shoulder because he didn't trust Oprah. And well, nobody that, any of us, we know that Oprah is one of the queen bees, dark bees of the Illuminati. And so, I wouldn't trust her. And so, but David felt that it was over. David went home, and things began to happen to David, leading up to the course of time for him to go back into the executive office. Now, I'm not going to pinpoint the exact time and the exact date, but David was receiving threatening letters. He received a package in the mail. It was Bill Cosby. It was who was another? It was Bill Cosby. It was even Al. That's why I don't like Al Sharpton today. It was Bill Cosby, Al Sharpton. It was Whoopi Goldberg, and it was a few others that was into putting the pressure on David to stop this thing with the black race. Now that was before, and it was even afterwards. But they were putting the pressure on him, and so eventually down the line, David was doing his comedy in the local comedy clubs, but then he got a phone call again, and he said, called me and told me, he said, cuz they called me again. I said, who called you again? He said, the executives. And he said, they want to talk to me one more time. They're thinking about the possibility of me doing the Chappelle show and doing it the way that I want to do it. I want to be, he said, because the only reason why I told them when I talked to them the last time that the only way I would do the Chappelle show again would be if I did it my way. And it would be set up on my terms. And so I received a phone call and they want to talk to me about it. Well, my antennas went up. I said, David, now you be careful now, because they could be saying that. He said, no, I really think they're serious this time, cuz. He said, because made it definite with them that the only way that he said, I told it on Oprah Winfrey show too, that the only way that I would do the Chappelle show again, it would have to be on my terms, my way, and and the money that I make, even if it wasn't $50 million, it would have to go to the people, and but it had to be on my terms. So I said, okay, David. I said, well, do you trust him? David said, yeah. David said, well, I think I can trust him this time. So I said, well, David, whatever the situation is, please give me a call. He said, you know that's right, cuz. And so David left. We hung up. I should say we hung up. I have not heard from David, not even today. I have not heard from David. Now, what I think is this, that Neil Brennan is a question mark, 100%. A question mark. I believe that David went there and they discussed once again about the $50 million. And I believe Neil Brennan was somewhere in that office. And then they told, I'm believing that they told David that they wanted him to see something. Just like they did Bernie Mac. Oh, yes, indeed. They took Bernie, let me stop on David for a few minutes. But they showed Bernie Mac the cloning lab, and they showed Bernie Mac the cloning lab, and he went down and he saw how people were being cloned. And when Bernie Mac came back and told Steve Harvey and D.L. Hughley and a few others, and that he saw the cloning lab, and that something had to be done to stop that foolishness of what they were doing. Well, Steve Harvey and D.L. Hughley went back and told the top brass of the Illuminati, the dark circle, in dark circle, and what they did, they killed him. Okay, so now let's go back to David Chappelle. I'm truly believing that they told David they had something they wanted him to see. And they took David to the underground cloning lab. And when they took David down there, I'm believing that before they took David down there, they promised David that they would go along with his deal, with David's deal, to get him to sign the contract. And I'm believing that David, thinking that he would get back on the Chappelle show, working with Comedy Central, that everything was going to be all right. And I'm believing that David signed that contract thinking that. And when he signed that contract, they wanted David to go and look at something else. It could have been maybe telling him that maybe it was a new studio or something of some kind or what have you. But they got David after signing the contract, and then once he signed the contract, they took him someplace else, and the place that they took him to was to the underground lab. And when they got him down there, they cloned David. And when they clone a person, and I want you to do your research, cloning today only takes a couple, maybe to several hours to be cloned. Well, this is what I strongly believe they did to David. They took him to this underground lab. And what they did is they smiling in his face and just going along with David so that David would not yield up or fight or this sort of thing. And they cloned him. And once they cloned David Chappelle, then they killed David Chappelle. Okay, and once they killed David Chappelle, that was it. And once they did this, then they had full control of this new Dave Chappelle. They had to clone him, and then once they cloned him, this is what I'm thinking too, that when they cloned him, then they got the clone to sign David's name for not only 50 million, but the 60 million as well. Well, let me say this. I had not heard from David when he was supposed to have met with the executives the second time, and Dave promised me and assured me he would call me to let me know the outcome. I have not heard from David since. When I turned my television on and I saw this man there on some kind of show, and he had one pants leg rolled all the way down and the other one rolled all the way up, and they said this was Dave Chappelle. I said, Dave, who? And I went to the television and I looked and I said, hell no, that ain't no Dave Chappelle or no Dave Chappelle. No, hell no. And so I got on the cell phone and I called my cousin David. And I called, the phone rang and it rang and it rang. I think it was maybe on the fourth or fifth ring that someone picked up the telephone and said, hello. I said, yeah, let me speak to David. And the person on the other end said, who are you? I said, I'm David Chappelle's cousin. And the phone clicked. It clicked. It went dead. So I called the number right back up again, and the phone rang, and it rang, and it rang. I never got in contact with David. Now, I called David's brother, William. Didn't get an answer from him either. I don't know what had happened, but I didn't get an answer from him. But when I saw this man on television with one pants leg all the way down and the other pants leg rolled up, I knew damn well that was not my cousin, not my Uncle William's son. Hell no. And when this new Dave had his pants leg rolled up, that was a symbol of the Masons. Now, David Chappelle was a practicing Muslim. My cousin Felicia, she's a practicing Muslim all the way. You see, David has children that has Muslim names. Now, why would all of a sudden This David turned from Muslim to Mason. It didn't add up. Okay, and then when they began to show this new Dave pictures of him, and I knew doggone well that wasn't David Chappelle. And then look at the comparison. Now the old David, his eyes, David had semi-big eyes, but his eyes were more slanted than bulged out eyes. And David and I, we always talked about his weight. And I was, Dave, you need to get, they said, no, because I don't want to be big. I want to stay small. I said, well, why? Because I can run fast. I can do things fast. David never believed in being a big, husky type person. No, this new person here today, they have him as a big, husky type person, like a bodybuilder. His eyes are budging out of his head. His neck is as big as one of the wrestlers' necks on the WrestleMania. You see, that's not, I'm telling you, you all can believe what you want to believe, but I know what I know. The Chappelle family knows this. This is not our family member. This is not my cousin, but this new Dave that they have out, it looks nothing like the old David Chappelle. The old David, he would have like a mustache. The new Dave, they have a mustache, but like mustache, but it looks like it's painted on his face. It's not the mustache that the old David Chappelle, had. Now, when they did David, made him a clone. Now, this is the thing now. They knew that his wife and his children and his mother would know the difference. If once they cloned David Chappelle and sent this new Dave back home, they would know the difference. This is not my husband. This is not my father, and this is not my son. So what they had to do, then they made threats to David earlier about taking out his wife, his children, and his mother. They told David at one time, this was all after they asked David to quit smashing on the black race as far as the character that he was playing on the Chappelle show. And they told David too that if he didn't stop, they would take out his mother, they would take out his wife, they would take out his children. And so now they knew that once they cloned this Dave or David, whatever you want to call him, but I know him as David, that once he goes back to Ohio, the family would know that this is not the man. It's a man of Russia, Putin, because Putin is cloned too, whether you believe it or not, but you do your research and find out these things now here. And when Putin was cloned, his wife said, when they sent him back home, she said, she got on in front of the cameras, she told everybody, this man is not my husband. She said, no, this is not my husband. This is a different man. And she saw the difference that this man had brought forth. Well, she was beginning to run her mouth a little bit too much. So what did they do? They didn't do it until Putin's wife was going to divorce Putin. And so what did they do? They cloned her. They cloned her. And now if you ask her if Putin is her husband, she'll tell you, yes, that's my husband. And if you do your research on it, you'll find statements and bulletins and that where she said at one time, that's not my husband. I don't know who this man is. This is an imposter that I'm living with. And, do your research and find out what she said. And so they figured if they sent David back home to his wife, his children, and his mother, they would say the same thing. So they had to do something. And so what they did before they sent David back home to his family, they cloned his wife, Elaine, they cloned his children, and they cloned his mama, my aunt. And they cloned all of them. And so now they were able to send David back home to them. And they don't know the difference. And you know why they don't know the difference? Because they all have been cloned. They all have been cloned. And if you go to them and ask them of the things, that I said about David, they'll look at you and say, no, something is wrong with her. She's, and they'll say this. Well, naturally, they'll say this. That's why they cloned David's wife, mother, and children, because they knew that David loved his family. And it wouldn't look right for David and all of his family to just all of a sudden, but especially his family to die or something of that nature. So they had to clone them as well. And they're living happily ever after as clones on the farm in Ohio, in Yellow Springs, Ohio. And so, and what they're doing off of this clone David, they're going to use this clone David to make money off of. Oh, they're going to push this clone David. They're going to push him and push him. They're going to make so much money off of him until they can't make enough. And once they have made enough, then they're going to kill off the clone. But you see that if you listeners out there compare the original David to this new David, the original David Chappelle made people like this man. The original was funny. I mean, he was fun. He told you, he would tell jokes to me and I would just laugh like that. But now this new clone, he's not as funny as the old David is. There are things that the old David did this new David doesn't even do. He doesn't. And if you listen, but you have to listen closely to this clone's voice. I'm telling you, listen very closely. This new clone does not, because I've picked it up and several other Chappelle family members have picked it up. This new clone does not have the original tone voice that David Chappelle had.
I think we're gonna have some fun with this one right here.
When I use my mind, I win the race. I am the moon and the rising sun. My new shit has just begun. I can take you higher. I can take you low. If you worry about where I've been or who I saw, what I went through with my homies, baby. Don't worry, don't worry,
Yes, it could be that freak in that chat, could be that cool cat. As Miss Provinci trying to play you full black. If something's on your chest, then let it be known. See, I'm not every 5 minutes, all on the phone and on the top of the trust. It's just a matter of fact that people be biting backs and trying to fax it. What's the tell? Ever be I ain't on some, I'm a celebrity. I deal with the veil and if it's artificial, let it be. I see people caught in love like whirlwinds. Listening to they squad, fucking with girlfriends. That's exactly the spot. They whole world and lies come in. That's where the drama begins.
If you were worried about where I went or who I saw, what club I went to with my homies, baby.
Shout out y'all.
If you were worried about where I've been or who I saw, what club I went to with my homies, baby, don't worry. If you were worried about where I've been, oh, baby, don't worry. I take you everywhere. You know it, yes. When
Oh, come on. Just got Erica Badu. Legendary Bruce Cooper, Philly, ladies and gentlemen. Brooklyn.